I'd like to tell my dad that we miss him very, very much. It's been really hard, but I want to tell him that he should stay strong, and we are constantly fighting for his freedom. And until he's freed and gets the freedom he deserves, because the Chinese government is trying to cover it up.
روزي يلكون هو أحد مثقفي الإيغور في الصين. بدأ في العام 2002 العمل في دار شينجيانغ للتعليم والنشر كمحرر لكتب الأدب الإيغوري، والتي كانت تستعمل لأكثر من 10 سنوات في كل مناطق الإيغور من دون أي مشكلة. وفي كل سنة كانت تلك الكتب تخضع لرقابة صارمة من قبل السلطات الصينية.
He was a famous Uyghur writer, literary critic, public speaker, and history researcher, and as well as an editor. And he had dedicated most of his life for the betterment of Uyghur society, and most of his work is focused on education reform, social values, Uyghur culture, Uyghur history, and he tried to preserve Uyghur identity, language, culture, and history through his work, and that's one of the main reasons why the Chinese government targeted him and arrested him in 2016 with made-up crimes.
في العام 2016 انقلبت حياة الرجل كلياً، وبالتالي حياة العائلة، مع انطلاق عملية قمع جماعية لأقلية الإيغور، إذ تم اعتقال عدد كبير من المفكرين والأساتذة، وكان يلكون ضمن هؤلاء بحجة أن في كتبه مشاكل إيديولوجية.
The very last time I saw my father was before leaving to the States. I came to the States when I was in high school, so that was the last time I saw him. But the very last time I spoke to him was in 2016, October 6th. Well, actually, the very last time we get a message from him is on October 6th, 2016. That day, he sent a message over WeChat saying, they're taking me. And we couldn't reach him after that. That was his last message to us. And ever since that day, we were not able to contact with him, or we never saw him again. I don't even know where he is.
لا تتوقف توماريس وشقيقها عن القيام بحملات تناصر أقلية الإيغور، فتراهما ناشطين على مواقع التواصل الاجتماعي يحملان صور والدهما في مسعى منهما إلى تنبيه المجتمع الدولي لوجوب الالتفات بجدية إلى قضية الإيغور وممارسات الصين بحقهم.
Currently, millions of Uyghurs are suffering in concentration camps, jails, and forced labor camps. And a lot of people and international community and many governments are staying silent. And I'd like to ask the international community to raise their voice and raise the awareness and focus on the Uyghur issues, because this is really happening, and it's not something, it's not a lie, because the Chinese government is trying to cover it up and blaming the testimonies of camp survivors or family members of prisoners, and saying it's a lie, but it's actually happening right now at this moment, and it's very severe. And I can be a live example of that because I have not been in contact with my father. So I would like to ask the international community to raise their voice, because every single one of them counts, and be the voice for those who are currently detained in camps and jails. And also ask the international governments or organizations to sanction China and boycott Chinese products, and be aware of the sources of the products you're buying from, because they are using forced labors to build products. So be aware of be aware of the sources of the products, boycott Chinese products, and also sanction China. And we need to put economic pressure on the Chinese government.
تستذكر توماريس والدها في كل موقف تمر به في حياتها حتى لو كان ذلك أمرا بسيطا للغاية، وتقول إنها تعلمت منه كيف تواجه المواقف الصعبة.
I think one of the qualities I carried on from my dad is to stay calm in any situation. My dad was very calm and he faced any kind of situation with a calm mind and thought logically about different situations. So I think that's something that really influenced me a lot. And with that trait, I was able to face the difficulties that we're having right now. And that's also encouraging me to move forward and keep fighting for him. I'd like to tell my dad that we miss him very, very much. And it's been really hard, but I want to tell him that he should stay strong and we are constantly fighting for his freedom. And until he's freed and gets the freedom he deserves, and we're not gonna give up and we're gonna keep fighting until he gets the freedom, and we're gonna keep fighting until the millions of Uyghurs are freed and gets reunited with their loved ones.
السلطات في الصين كانت بثت في وقت سابق على قناة CGTN فيلما وثائقيا مدته 10 دقائق وجهت فيه تهمة دمج وجهات نظر مشحونة إثنيا وانفصالية في الكتب المدرسية إلى مسؤولي النشر الإيغور السابقين وكذلك كبار المحررين، ومنهم روزي يلكون ووهيجان عثمان الذي سبق أن أثرنا قضيته أيضا في أخبار الآن، وتحدثنا مع ابنته أي كانت عثمان عن قضيته المماثلة لقضية روزي يلكون. روزي يلكون ووهيجان عثمان إذن هما اثنان من المثقفين الإيغور، وهما ضمن أكثر من 400 مثقف إيغوري تعتقلهم الحكومة الصينية وفق ما يقول عبد الوالي أيوب الناشط الإيغوري المعروف لأخبار الآن. ويعتبر أيوب واحدا من الذين يدونون جرائم الصين بحق أقلية الإيغور، وهو يقوم كذلك بعملية إحصاء للمعتقلين في شينجيانغ.
يلكون روزي is a prominent Uyghur scholar and Uyghur intellectual and educator, and he mostly focused on Uyghur education. He started to write about the Uyghur education in 1930s and 1920s. At that time, there is an educational movement in Uyghur education campaign, and it influenced very strongly to build a modern Uyghur nation. And but after communist rule, that kind of spirit not really active. And in 1990s, Yelkun Rozi revitalized that spirit, revitalized that educational campaign among the Uyghurs, and he promoted that Uyghur in 70 years ago they have a strong education movement, and we need to start it again in 1990s. After that, we have Uyghur businessmen invested Uyghur education, and the Uyghur scholars emphasized Uyghur education, and especially Uyghur ladies, female Uyghur intellectuals promote the importance of education. Organized Uyghur intellectuals to translate important books in the history, in Western philosophy and Western education. And he also organized other Uyghur scholars to translate movement in Islamic history. And also he published books about Uyghur history. And he encouraged Uyghur to learn from the history and to learn from the failure in the history and to learn successfulness from the history and he encouraged people to be active, to be enlightened, and to be inspiring. And the third, he is a good orator. He gave a speech in different Uyghur cities, especially in 2000. From 2005, he started to give lecture in different Uyghur cities, and his lecture was become very popular, and people from different group participated his speech and listened to his lecture. He played important role in Uyghur culture, but unfortunately, the textbook he compiled, he edited, suspected by Chinese government, and actually those textbooks inspected by Chinese government, published Chinese educational press, and it is a national order. It is the central government's order to publish textbook, but at the end, يلكون روزي, unfortunately, in prison in 2016, October 6.
يقول أيوب إن بعض كبار المسؤولين الصينيين الذين عملوا على مراجعة الكتب المدرسية لم يتم ذكرهم أبدا في الفيلم الوثائقي، بينما تم تمييز نظرائهم الإيغور المتهمين كمجرمين انفصاليين، وذلك دليل على أن تلك محاكمة صورية. الصين تعرضت لانتقادات كثيرة لسياساتها القاسية التي تستهدف 12 مليون من الإيغور، وتشمل انتهاكات هدم المساجد، سجن المثقفين والفنانين ورجال الأعمال الإيغور، إضافة إلى استبدال اللغة الإيغورية بالصينية كلغة رئيسية في المدارس. ذلك عدا عن استخدام نظام مراقبة واسع الانتشار وتطفل لمراقبة تحركات الإيغور، وكذلك العمل الجبري في المصانع والمزارع، وإجبار الإيغور كذلك على تحديد نسلهم وتعقيم النساء. على الرغم من اعتبار الولايات المتحدة والسلطات التشريعية في العديد من الدول الأوروبية أن معاملة الإيغور وغيرهم في إقليم شينجيانغ تشكل إبادة جماعية وجرائم ضد الإنسانية، إضافة إلى شهادات الناجين والفرين وذوي المعتقلين، إلا أن شيئا لم يحصل عمليا على أرض الواقع.
I'm not a policy expert, so I'm not sure of what kind of political steps would make the best effect for saving millions of Uyghurs. All I can say is that every single voice counts, and we should be speaking up nonstop about the Uyghur issues, because once we stop talking and stop putting a spotlight on those people, they don't have any help. They can't speak up for themselves. Even their families are silenced, and even living abroad, their families are constantly getting threats from the Chinese government and being silenced. So I think just even as the simplest step, just as speaking up about this issue and raising awareness, or just informing another person about what's happening currently, can be really helpful. I'd like to tell my dad that we miss him very, very much.